All these tracks in the snow will hopefully give you a lesson about antennas that are supported by and interact with trees. This is my NE0U EZL antenna for 160 meters, and it works great. Unfortunately, I made a mistake with it when I put it up in the month of October when it was fairly warm. As Steve Root, K0SR, would say, trees can act one of two ways. They can act as a conductor, or they can act as an insulator.
It's difficult to see, but my EZL wraps around this branch right here. So I definitely have interaction between the antenna and the tree.
At the time of the EZL's redeployment in October, the trees were relatively warm, thus acting as a conductor. But now here in the month of January, with things significantly colder, the trees are now acting as an insulator, which is actually what you want. But back in October, with warmer temperatures, the SWR curve was such that I trimmed the antenna too much. Normally what happens is, as it gets colder, the SWR dip increases, and that's what happened this year. And unfortunately, when I trimmed the antenna for wonderful SWR in the month of October, I didn't take into consideration that in January it would change to a point where it was not as favorable. So here I am in the month of January in the snow with these tools to essentially add about the same amount of wire that I removed in October. Here's the real problem. I don't know if you can read that. It's -6 Fahrenheit out here right now. Here's a look at the splice. It's nothing great, that's for sure. It's just a crimp connector with some poorly wrapped black tape around it, but it'll hold for the winter, but eventually I'll want to replace the entire driven element with one section. You see this circular path around the support tree made by my boots. Well, the reason for that is, unfortunately, the antenna got stuck. It was caught up on a branch or something. And in order to get the driven element to move, I had to completely take it down and bring it back down to ground level. And when I did that, it was -10 Fahrenheit. I apologize for not showing more of the extension deployment process, but when it's this cold out, it's tough to do filming and the actual work simultaneously.
Boy, I hope that's a heated flight.
In your picture is the NE0U EZJ 160 meter antenna. There's a link to that below in the description. You can see the marker flag on it. I don't have an update for this yet. I'm still trying to figure this antenna out. And it's been real wonky because of its J shape. And so we just haven't figured this antenna out yet. But as soon as I get something more concrete, I'll do an update video on that.
Hey, stay away from my antennas, you little shit.
When I'm chasing SWR on an antenna, I will add my findings to the log, and this was about 10 days ago, and you can see the SWR dip on the EZL was at 1895. Let's take a look at it now. I added just over 2 feet or so of the Smelly, which by the way is my nickname for General Cable's test probe wire, to the EZL's driven element, and now the SWR dip is sitting at 1840. Beautiful, flat match. Let's throw some juice into it. I'm at 1840. Little over legal limit. 1.1 to 1. Gotta love it. And I'm gonna get a good 50 kcs on either side of that, so 160 meters should be in good shape with the NE0U EZL. Nice frozen window. So the lesson is, if you have an antenna that is supported by and interacts with trees like my EZL does, be careful how much you trim when it's warm, because when it gets cold, the SWR dip and SWR curve could change, and you might be out here in the cold like I was today. Thanks for watching in 73 from Whiskey X-Ray 0 Victoria.